Hi, everyone. Today on the Departure Lounge, we have a special guest. This is actually a different guest from the last two we had who were just in travel. This is a private chef company. So today we're joined by Kim Gandhi, the Chief Operating Officer of Food, Fire, and Knives. Kim's story is inspiring. She grew up immersed in cooking from a young age, blending her Hispanic and German roots into a love for food. After a career in technology services, she discovered Food, Fire, and Knives through a personal experience with a private chef. That encounter sparked a new professional journey. Today, as COO, Kim plays a vital role in shaping how Food, Fire, and Knives delivers elevated in-home dining across the country, bringing together fully vetted chefs and seamless hospitality. She's also been recognized as COO of the Year in 2025 for private chef services, showing her impact in transforming the way people experience fine dining at home. Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's get right into it. Tell us more about your background. I read that you had been cooking from a young age.
Yeah, but my journey really, up until about 5 years ago, my journey was really in IT. I worked in a variety of different technology companies doing digital transformation. When I jumped into Food, Fire, and Knives, again, still utilizing my technology background, we make sure that we keep on building out the website and seeing what else we can do in regards to making that an easy experience both for our shops as well as our customers.
Okay. So what led you from technology into Food, Fire, and Knives? How did that whole transition go?
Yeah, it's a fun little story. Not a long story, but a fun little story. I was actually looking for a birthday gift for my son. He's a foodie, loves food, has every piece of equipment known to man, and so I was like, "What can I give him?" And my husband said, "Hey, we've done this private chef thing. I'll bet you in Savannah there's a private chef company." And I did a search and found the website. Went through the whole experience. It was amazing. I got on chat to tell the customer service team how much we enjoyed it and that the CEO was doing it right. I mean, just from the whole flow of everything. And we just really enjoyed it. What I didn't know was he was monitoring at the chat at the time. So, just checking in. He was just doing the customer service, seeing that the customer service team was doing the right thing.
That's
We got to
cool.
talking, and it took me a couple months to convince him I just had to be part of this. I was like, this is just so cool. And so he and I have been a team now going on 5 years.
That's awesome. So it started as just a personal thing you were using, and then you became the COO. I like it. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had been using private chefs before you found this service.
We had just done it once. It was, by happenstance. With COVID, if you think about COVID, people weren't going back into restaurants right away. And you're tired
Mm.
of DoorDash, you're tired of, you like the restaurant food, but, having it delivered is just not the same thing. Not feeling
Right.
comfortable going back into restaurants, tried a private chef just for one night, just to say, here, let's, have a dinner party and bring everybody together. It just seems safer at the time. And there was a whole lot of other people that were doing the same thing. So really, the whole cottage industry of private chef has grown exponentially since the end of COVID because people found, oh, this is a really fun way to have an evening. You don't have the noise of the restaurants, but you get just incredible food. The chefs love to talk about where they, are sourcing their food or how they're making something. They love questions. So it's a really great experience to have. And, most people don't have private chefs on a day in, day out basis, but if you can have it for one night, it's pretty fun to do.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I was gonna ask you. I actually had that as a note to ask you later. Like, do you think that COVID accelerated the your guys' business
It
and
did.
and
Absolutely, it
us
did.
becoming more mainstream?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those where, we continue to educate people on, private chefs. If you're going to a fine dining restaurant, You're probably going to pay very similar for a private chef for that evening. You'll save a little bit on, because you can buy your own alcohol and you're not paying the prices that you're paying in a restaurant. But you're paying for that chef and their experience and the type of meal that they have.
Yeah. Okay. So when a customer comes to your website, what's their customer journey like? How does it work?
Sure. They are able to put in their city and state, put in the date that they're looking for, and then they're presented with quite a few different, depending on the city. There's some cities that we don't have as many chefs, but they're presented with the chefs that are available. Their menus, their pricing, everything is transparent. It's right there. If you have questions for the chef, there's a way to click a chat button to talk directly to, or, chat directly with the chef, asking them
Okay.
questions. Maybe you've got a gluten-free issue, or you're a celiac or some dietary restriction. You're able to actually get answers from the chef before you book. Once you follow all the prompts, it is a 3 to 5 minute process depending on how long you take to figure out which menu you're going to pick. And then you check out. 48 hours, the chef contacts you to say, I'm your chef, introduces themselves. Again, you're bringing a stranger into your home. So having that direct connection with the chef, them contacting you, introducing themselves, giving you some idea of what's going to happen for that evening. They pick up all the ingredients. They come to the house with their cooking equipment, the ingredients, cleaning supplies. They prep, they cook, they serve, pull away the dishes, clean up the kitchen, clean up the dishes, and then they're out the door. So the whole experience, typically for, a 3 to 4 course meal is about 4 to 5 hours, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I was playing around on the website earlier. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, so I was looking at those options. And do some of the chefs travel? I was looking in Columbus just for an example, and then I looked in Miami, and I saw one of the chefs look like she was in both locations.
We have traveling chefs, yes. So some of
Okay.
our chefs will have really big radiuses, and they go, and so their prices reflect that. If they're closer to where their home base is, their prices are a little bit cheaper, and when they're further out, like Miami or Columbus, they're a little bit higher. So, we
Mhm.
try to make sure that we also showcase the chefs that are more local, because, you prefer to have somebody closer, just you're not paying travel and that sort of thing. But the particular chef that you're talking about, I know who she is. She also has some pretty amazing menus. She was just named Chef of the Year for our company. So she's actually a pretty phenomenal chef, and she's been doing some great things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. I have a chef also here, and I was just checking to see if he was on there yet. So I actually messaged him before the call, and I was like, "Hey, you need to get on this website." He says he's heard of it actually, so he just has to finish the whole process. But
There you go.
it's really cool. It's cool how I mean, looks like it's super convenient to use. Um, So as far as the onboarding process goes for when a new chef comes in, how does that work?
Yeah, so when we have people apply, and we make each chef have a Google Meet with us. So we do a face-to-face with them, check and see
Mhm.
what their qualifications are. We require sous or exec chefs or above, to be part of the platform. So there is some requirements within that. Once they finish that interview and we feel that we're both a fit, we go through an onboarding process with them, show them how to use the site, how to load their menus, availability, all the pricing and that sort of thing. And then when we get them on, they have a little flag that says that they're new to the platform. And then they're off to the races. Once they have their availability and have some menus in, they're live on the site. So it's pretty simple for them as well. We try to keep it as painless as possible.
All right, so when a chef joins your website, are they a general contractor or do they get paid through your platform? How does that work?
Yeah, so all of our chefs are 1099, so they're all their own little business. So, and
Mhm.
we're a marketplace, similar to I mean, you can liken it to Airbnb or any of the other market, Amazon. So we're just a private chef marketplace. They're all paid through the website. They're only paid once the engagement is done. So once it's complete is when they'll get paid. So that helps make sure that, people worry. It's a day and age where people worry, is this fake? Are people going to show up? I've given you all this money. What's going to happen? And
Yeah,
so, we've put safe places in place that, they don't get paid until the actual engagement is complete.
that's nice. So it gives the customers peace of mind and everything like that.
Mhm.
I'm sure you have all kinds of different people using this platform. Is it families, corporate groups, individuals? What is it like?
Yeah, we've got a couple of different big demographics. One of our bigger ones is bachelorette parties. Those,
Really?
especially with bachelorettes, was really big during COVID. So that's continued to be a big portion of it. People going on vacation, you know, they want to see what they're doing. They want to eat. They don't want to take all the kids and everything out. And so they'll bring in chefs. So we have a lot of vacationers that are doing this as well. More corporate parties come in the fall and winter. So we see a lot more corporate, holiday parties and that sort of thing.
Okay. Do you see a pickup in certain seasons then?
Yeah. So bachelorettes are always in the spring, though they go through all the way through to September. So, we see people, getting married in the fall. Vacation is definitely, during the summer months, we see a lot of things with that. End of year is the holiday parties. But then we also see seasonality for people. Like Phoenix is just starting to come alive now because people are going back down there. It's been so hot in the summer, they don't spend as much time there, so there isn't as much. But the snowbirds come down there, come down to Florida, and we see a lot of activity with that.
But let's get into some of the challenges that you guys have overcome or are seeing right now that you guys are working on. Is there anything that in particular that you guys have overcome recently or something you're looking to fix in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, it's really how do you grow the business, and it's not just a one and done. Once somebody especially if it's for a bachelorette party, you're only having one bachelorette party for yourself. What are other things that you would use it for down the line? So repeat business is something that we're constantly trying to figure out how to do more of. On a more personal, with the chefs, it's how do we continue to get enough business in so that they can take their passion and do this full time. Many of our chefs are part-time. They really want to do that full-time, full-time engagement. The freedom that a chef gets for doing this, they set their own schedules, they set their own pricing, they set when they're available. So, if you're working full-time at a restaurant, if your child has baseball, say, you might miss their games, or at 5 o'clock, your boss could come to you and say, "Hey, the other chef quit, and I need you to stay for an extra 7 hours." For a chef, private chef allows them to have that freedom and flexibility, but it's a matter of getting in enough business that they can actually do that.
Yeah.
There's the geo, whatever you want to call it, challenges that we have right now with food costs, or you know, inflation and those sort of things that drives prices up, drives ingredient prices, tariffs definitely drive if you've got any international spicing or anything that you have. All of those items drive prices, and that ends up to the end customer. Where's the price point ending up being too high that they're like, I just can't afford this anymore. So continue to figure out ways to mitigate that. It's just an ongoing thing.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to mitigate, to be honest. I mean, that's almost out of our control at some point. But like, do do the clients are they usually picking the food sources or is the chef usually like saying, I have these suppliers I work with or I go to these grocery stores? How does that work?
Yeah, the chef does their own suppliers. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
they're very involved with it. Again, from a food safety, even from, what permit, each state you have different permits that you need, food safety permits, or, even certifications that you have to have. The chefs hold all of those for each state. And quite honestly, in order to make sure that their customers don't get sick, they prefer to do the sourcing themselves because they know their purveyors and they know where to get the fresh, the items that aren't going to make somebody sick.
Yeah, that makes sense. Earlier you mentioned something about bringing in business. I was wondering, what are you guys doing to bring in business on the front end?
Yeah, we do unpaid and paid social. So just like everybody else, we're out on Instagram, Facebook. We have TikToks that go out. We're on LinkedIn for more of the corporate side of the world. And then we've got paid. So we're in Meta and Bing, and all the typical places that you would be doing paid, social media, uh, and getting more into email marketing. And so we've got some of that for outreach that we're doing. We're hoping by the end of this year, beginning of next, we'll be doing some streaming, some TV ads and streaming. So we're continuing to work on getting, more visibility. We can do that at scale versus an individual chef. It's one of the things why chefs want to get on the platform is they're not necessarily the experts on how to deal with SEO or, how to market or how to keep a website running. They want to cook. That's their passion. That's where they're at. So we take the other operational pieces on it and, being able to pool the money together across, 300 chefs, you're able to then make a difference and put some pretty nice ads out there.
Oh, you guys are really looking like you're going to be on everything. That's cool. Super Bowl ad next.
Yeah.
Cool. So as far as the future goes with your guys' business, um, if you look like 12 to 18 months out, where do you see Food and Fire Knives going next?
Yeah.
Any for business?
Yeah, I mean, we're in 43 states now, so we'll continue to work on getting to the rest of them. So aggressively going after that. We want to break into Canada by the end of the year, and then next is probably going over to Europe. We'll start our international expansion. So we do have a goal within 5 years to be at the international level across multiple countries.
That's cool. What is it gonna take to be able to expand over to like Europe and Canada?
Yeah, I mean it's understanding the regulations, making sure that we've got all of our, tax, whether it's tax, VAT, whatever the case might be, what are the legal
Hmm.
requirements that we have to operate in each country? And then, being able to make sure we stay on top of that from a legal perspective. Um, from a chef perspective, it'll, literally be just, repeat of what we're doing here. We already have chefs, especially when we advertise on LinkedIn. We have a lot of international chefs that come and say, "Hey, can I get on here? I'm in Saudi Arabia or I'm in London, wherever they're at. They're asking, can I jump on board because I want to be part of this." So I don't think we'll have too many issues from that standpoint. But it's more, let's make sure that we've got all the legal T's and C's for each country and make sure we're paying the right taxes, et cetera.
Yeah, that makes sense. So as far as partnerships goes, like what are you guys doing in terms of that?
Yeah, so we actively recruit and we've got a whole affiliate program that we've started where different groups can join our affiliate program. It could be a short-term rental company. It could be another smaller, smaller private chef group that just says, "Look, I'm trying to get more visibility. The more platforms you're on, the better off you are." We have approximately probably about 90 partnerships, of which about 10 of them are big. Some of the big ones that we've partnered with are Airbnb, Virgin Experiences. We've got partnerships with some really large short-term rental companies and that sort of thing.
Nice. That's cool. So you guys are really expanding through all these partnerships. Do you think that's been a big part of how you guys have expanded, or
It
what do you see?
has. Yeah, it has. In fact, one of the cooler ones that we have is it's called Thanks. And what corporate companies do is they go and they have a contract with Thanks, and their employees can give gifts of a gift card, and it happens to be with us. It's, $100 gift card or $150 gift card for a private chef experience, to put towards it. And so they'll give those out as corporate gifts to either you know, the chef or not chefs, the employees themselves, or employees can give it like if you're a salesperson. We always see at the end of a quarter, there's certain companies that are giving them out to their customers, say, hey, thanks for meeting with us or doing whatever. So we have grown on the corporate side with that particular partnership and program. Last year, I think when we first started, we had like maybe like 3 or 4 thousand in gift card sales. And this year it's, up into the 20,000 mark. So it's actually something that's growing, and it's a really fun program that's a great partnership with us.
Do you have anybody that, you know, I was going to ask you about repeating business. Did you get repeat business from those gift card opportunities? And do you have repeat business in other parts of your business? And who are the ones that are doing the most repeat business?
Yeah, definitely the thanks cards are repeat business, different corporations, because you can pick from a variety. It doesn't just have to be Food Fire and Knives gift cards. It can be a variety of other pieces, but we see repeats coming through there quite often. And the other repeat business, we do about 18% of our business today is repeat business. So, people, they'll go on vacation. I had somebody yesterday. Um, they reached out and said, "Yeah, we've booked your chefs in 3 different cities. We're going to come to. I think they're going to somewhere in Florida." And they said, "Do you have any chefs down there? Because we want to book them there." One of my longest customers, she lets me know 2 to 3 months wherever she's going. She's always traveling around the country, and she's always asking what chefs, and she books those chefs in every single city she stays in. So kind of fun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be nice. I would love to have a private chef everywhere I go. It's like the best thing. If you could wave a magic wand and instantly improve any part of the business right now, what would that be?
I think it would be really on the sales side of things. I think there's so much opportunity out there if we had unlimited investment, to go out and do something. That's where we'd put our money because um, it's just, even having a conversation with someone like you, or, every day I have somebody that said, "Oh, I didn't know anything about this." I was talking with a real estate agent over the weekend. I was at an event, and we started talking, and she's like, "This would be great for our brokerage companies. We should get together and do something more because, they've got high net worth housing, and at the end of the sale, they're always gifting something over to thank the customer. A two-person dinner for, dinner for two for that would be great." Um, Being able to have enough salespeople to go and attack those opportunities, there's where my magic wand would be.
Sales. Sales. Being on sales. Cool. Well, I just want to ask one final question. I ask all the guests, and that is, what are you excited about in your business right now? And then we'll close out.
What I'm excited about in my business. Oh, I have to say, I've been working for a lot of years. This is my dream job. I get very passionate about it because of the stories and everything that people tell us all the time. And I wake up in the morning without an alarm clock and go, "Oh my gosh, what's going to be the news story of the day?" We just, if you liken it to going, I kind of, this is a dumb one, but if you went into a jewelry store, you come out of the jewelry store usually pretty happy because you bought something or you're giving something, and it's a happy event. Same things happen with private chef events, especially, if it's with personal and family. It's community. The chef is coming in, bringing community to your family, your friends, that sort of thing. Watching those stories and the joy that comes from them, you rarely get together to eat and have an angry time. It's not part of human DNA to do it. So being able to get to that next dinner and being able to show something that happened, the interaction for the customers, that's an experience. But think about the chefs. They're now interacting on a personal level. They're watching life happen around them, and it's a fun time. And so they kind of feed on each other from a community standpoint. That's what drives me in this business every day.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. You're definitely in a unique field that it looks like it would be fun. So,
It is.
um,
It is.
yeah. Well, thank you, Kim, for sharing all that with us. It was a pleasure to host you today.
Feel free to check us out at www.foodfireknives.com. And, we look forward to you. We've actually got a promotion going on right now for 10% off. So there you go.
There we go, guys. I'll put the links to all that stuff below the video, guys, so you can check it out. All right. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.